things are. Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. We are back on this Monday, June 1st, first Monday of June, first day of June. Very excited though to have Charlotte Melton on the show. She is with Mental Health Association of Central Florida, and we're going to talk about how hope saves lives today. Welcome, Charlotte.
Hi, thank you so much for having me. I'm grateful to be here.
I'm grateful to have you. I think that this is fortuitous that you are on the show this week. There's so much going on, and I would say hope is definitely a challenging word for some right now. And I think mental health awareness of any kind is super important for us to kind of keep revisiting. So, but before we get into all of that, I want them to learn a little bit about you. So tell them about Charlotte Melton.
Oh, Charlotte Melton. Well, I'm a peer, I'm an advocate, and in the mental health world, a peer means someone with lived experience. And it's a unique opportunity to speak from the voice of somebody who's lived a journey. My diagnoses are depression and anxiety, and I don't remember a time that they weren't a part of how my body functioned and my mind processed. But that wasn't a forefront need in my life, or at least not one that I saw as a need. I continued to be a fervent student and explore and discover and grow, just making my parents proud and myself proud. I had some high expectations, but I hit a crisis in college. I had attempted suicide as a younger adult, and thankfully I'm terrible at it, so we're good. I'm here.
Wow.
Embrace your strengths and weaknesses, Ted. Absolutely.
I love it. I'm sorry. That was not what I was expecting, so I love it when I'm caught off guard because that was good. Before you said, Clay is sending lots of love, and he puts it in big capitalized letters, Clay Ferrara, so I don't want to interrupt. So, all right, so you're bad at that, thank God. We're very glad you're bad at that.
Thank you so much. Yes, absolutely. But it allowed me to get to another side, and thankfully I was not as efficient in my tactics as many are every day and every year. And I was in college when I hit my big, deep crisis, and was in the most exciting environment for an individual to seek answers. I had a collegiate level of answers around me. So I was able to change my major, and I started my journey of discovery into myself, that introspection that is awkward and uncomfortable, and thankfully at the end of it, joyous. And maybe not the end. Let's definitely not say we're not done by any means.
Let me ask you. So we've had a lot of survivors on the show, and so one of the things I'm always curious about, what was that next step? So you realize, all right, this is not for me. I'm not good at it, as you put it. I don't want this to continue. I need to make some sort of change. What was the first change? I think a lot of people get hung up on making the perfect choice, and then they stay paralyzed and they don't get the help that they need.
Oh, I'm bursting to say 1,000 things, Ted. But to keep it on topics for now, what it really ties into is I had to discover how to find hope. I had to discover how to see another side, to see that there was a different reality that could exist other than the one I was perceiving and the pain that I was feeling. Because suicide is something that's driven by a deep psychological pain, and it feels like the pain's never going to end, and there isn't another option. So that's the option taken. And hope starts out small. So as integral as those phases were in my life, they blurred by the years past. And I don't remember that thought that brought me to hope in the first two, but the one that was the last, and actually I haven't thought about this since, so interesting that you bring it up now, is that I wanted the love that a parent has with a child. And I believed in some point, and I focused that eventually I'd be able to have that deep, life-giving, growing, developing, fostering relationship, that I could someday be a mom. That actually was something big enough and deep enough for me to hold on to. And it changed shapes over the years, but it's something that kept me moving forward. And I actually have achieved that in
Oh,
a
you
very
have.
strange
I didn't
way,
know.
but I do have a little monster, and he is my greatest gift.
Isn't that amazing that like it's different for everyone, right? Because you just don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes hope comes from the strangest place. You just don't know, but there's something that gives it to you and allows you to continue on. But guys, please listen to what she said. It's she's finding this. She doesn't remember the exact sparks, but she remembers certain sparks, and there's some kind of hope there. I have to say that your aunt Donna got on and said you're such an inspiration. So you obviously are. Why? So let's say you begin your journey. You begin to get to a place where you are healthy. Why do you want to help other people? A lot of people go into some sort of mental health counseling or awareness or advocacy because they have experienced it and know what people go through. But it can be very trying. So what was the impetus for you? You just said one day, all right, I feel well enough. I also want somebody to have hope.
It was actually part of my journey. It was to do work for others was part of doing work for me. To learn more about other people's experiences opened my eyes to be able to conceptualize my own experience with more information. I needed to be exposed to the journeys of others and the pain of others, and not to ever say mine was worse or theirs was worse, but, oh, I didn't even know you could feel that way. Oh, wow, interesting. And maybe reflect on your own experiences in that hindsight perspective. What an amazing gift we have to be able to look back on things, to remember, to develop, to grow, to not maybe end up in the exact same place as last time without having learned something. So what I would say for others is to allow yourself to organically find hope each time you're faced with a need for it. It doesn't have to be a perfect answer. It has to be something that allows you to see the world a little differently. I've grown to learn that my self-talk, that little voice inside, is always just a first draft.
That's a great way to look at it. So that voice is your first draft. Because a lot of people, that's the only voice they hear, or that's the only voice they'll listen to, and they are very quick to make decisions when they haven't thought them through.
And you hear it as a banner, you hear it as a motto, you hear it as that little you can do it voice, or that you don't even know what you're getting into, Charlotte voice, and I need to go, well, actually, I think I do. Let me try this again ahead.
I love it. No, I think that's so good. You have to be in touch enough with the voices, and we all have them. And guys, we're saying that, and I mean that in a way where we all have that, whatever you feel it is, your spirit, your soul, your inner voice, your instincts, something kicks in, and we do have that. I want to address one thing. We had some questions before we went live with the promos, but somebody said that they live with someone who has anxiety. Anxiety is the word, what they use. And that they wanted to point out that it was very eye-opening for them to finally understand that that person's brain works differently than their brain. And I think there's this stigma that goes along with talking about stuff until you even get to the point where you get some sort of diagnosis. So what would you tell people who don't have what you have to try to help them be more compassionate for people who do?
To make sure I don't over encompass the experience of all depression and anxiety, is you have to ask somebody what they are experiencing. So I'm so grateful you're asking me, because my experience is different than others. I have an instinct to tell myself that I can't do things, and that what I've done has been imperfect, or that it's not of quality, and that I disappoint people. And I don't. I work really hard, and I need to actively correct that. I also, with my anxious brain, worry about what could go wrong and what I have done wrong, so it knows what's going to happen next. And all of the things about people's thoughts about me tie into anxiety. Through my work with this agency, I found the Mental Health Association of Central Florida as part of my internship after I had changed my majors, trying to find out who I am. And I got in deep. I've been here in October, it'll be 12 years.
Wow, amazing. Congratulations.
And Thank you. There's just always so much to do and so much work to move forward. And in those 12 years, my depressive symptoms are now to me strengths. They're not weaknesses. My anxiety symptoms are strengths and not weaknesses. I am early. I am always prepared. I think about all the things that could go wrong and I address them. So instead of that being something I doubt or find as a challenge about myself, the journey to learning about your circumstances and finding how they benefit you and what you can do to make them a strength is an exciting part of wellness.
Well, I think that you have to, which you've obviously done, people don't know how to identify their triggers a lot. And so you've got this overwhelming feeling that something's happened. And by the time you realize that you don't go into, you don't really evaluate, okay, what caused that? Because you're already in the frothy part of it. You're like, I'm in it. I'm full in the anxiety or I'm full in the depression. And it's very hard. People who don't have an experience don't understand that it can be very difficult to lift yourself out of it. And of course, you're not really thinking at that moment, what's my trigger? What started that so I can address it? It takes years of therapy and discussions and work, which is what you obviously do. Talk about the Mental Health Association of Central Florida a little bit. By the way, you have love going on, and I just want everyone to know she'll see it later.
I will catch up on that, guys. Thank you so much for tuning in. The agency, Mental Health Association Central Florida, has been around since 1946. It's our duty to grow and change with the community and to act as an access point. We have a clinic in partnership with Advent Health, Orange County government, and Walgreens, but we also do the advocacy and education part, connecting you through an information referral service to all of the clinical providers in our community, because we need a team. We do it together. So the Mental Health Association of Central Florida is the cog that gets you connected, that empowers you to take that step and follows up with you a bit later to say, did you make that call? You matter. Please do it.
What can you, there's lots of love. I want to read all of your comments, but I have questions I want to ask her. So Vic and Fernando, thank you. We'll both answer later and people can see, love you too. I think that now we're in these, still in unprecedented times, and the stress and anxiety and depression, talk about triggers. I mean, you're isolated, you're quarantined, you can't work, you've been let go, you have extra bills. Most of America lives paycheck to paycheck, so there was no planning involved in this. What are you seeing at the mental health? What are you guys seeing? Are you seeing a lot of people coming to you with, I don't know what to do? Is there more of a sense of, this is a greater loss than I've ever dealt with, so please help me? What are you guys seeing?
We're seeing a need to process stress, to help people process anxiety. So we have a daily support group that we offer virtually twice a day. Shawanda Henderson is our peer advocate who leads those groups, and it's a forum that's a safe space to talk about what you're dealing with. And the topics are ranging everywhere from loss of job to grief. It's putting those who even have really quality coping mechanisms and stress management tools to the test. What works for 5 days straight usually could have a break in between, but now it's all the same. So I advocate for those people finding their team, reach out to those people who can help you see what's going on with you, and reach out to show their support.
I feel like there's also an upcoming anxiety. There's an anxiety about what to do next. So for example, I'm going to go out into the world and have my first meeting at my normal meeting place that I normally would have meetings tomorrow. And that's really, truly the first time I ventured out in that capacity in 2 months. And I was talking to some people and trying to invite them to meet with me one-on-one. And there's a lot of trepidation out there, Charlotte. There's a lot of people who still are like, well, I don't know what that looks like. I'm afraid to go out. There's actually a fear to venture back to the new normal. What should they do?
They need to address what makes them feel safe. Self-advocacy is a key part of that next step after introspection. You look at what you need, what makes you feel safe, what scares you, and you commit to standing up for it. So if putting on a mask or having enough distance or being in an open area space is going to put you at ease, then it's something that you should feel empowered to say yes to. But if the people you're inviting are sitting there hesitant, anxious, and it's building stress in their systems and they're feeling their bodies respond, they need to listen. It's just like a medical situation. When you feel a symptom in your body, you need to listen. Is that symptom telling me I'm in danger? And maybe it's not physical danger. Maybe who knows the likelihood of them getting the virus in that exact interaction. But they know that they're going to cause themselves stress. They're feeling it now. So is it worthwhile, or do I voice my need to be put on the speakerphone in that conversation and be grateful to be in the space, but not put myself at risk, emotionally or physically?
That's good. All right. So why is there still a stigma? Do you see it as my background's in mental health? I have a master's degree in healthcare administration. So I believe your organization used to be part of something that we licensed many years ago. But I am familiar with the stigma of anybody who wants to talk about getting help. I'm amazed that it's still out there. But how can people get past that? If you've got not a support system, can they just, you mentioned it earlier, but I think it's good to repeat it. Can people just call and talk to somebody that's private, tell them a little bit about that process? Because I think there's a lot of people who really want someone to talk about, but they fear what people will think.
The movement that really supports this is peer certification, certifying individuals who have lived experience. So anywhere that you're seeing the phrasing of peer specialist, that's someone you can talk to who has a lived experience. And it's similar to the model of a sponsor through AA. You have someone who's walked the walk and isn't going to judge you for your possibly extreme experiences. So our agency offers one-on-ones with our peer specialist. The Peer Support Coalition has peer specialists you can access, and Peer Support Space does. If you contact our agency through our Facebook or our website, we will definitely directly hand you to a peer you can talk to, because it is okay and there's power in your story, and you don't have to discriminate or judge against yourself. You deserve support.
I agree. I mean, I love that you shared. I did counseling for 5 years. I'm a big proponent of it. It was in college, but it made such a dramatic improvement and helped me, even though at the time, of course, I didn't think I needed any help. You know, God forbid, I can't possibly need help. Guys, you got to get out of your own, guys and girls, you got to get out of your own head on that, because if there's a recurring theme of something that's going wrong in your world, or something that's stressing you out or giving you anxiety or making you depressed, then it's going to be this vicious cycle until you figure it out. And that's what I love about Mental Health Association of Central Florida. All right, so I ask everyone this: what did you do, or what have you been doing personally, Charlotte, to stay sane, to stay focused and creative and above the fray?
Mediating and giving permission to what I allow into my bubble. There are a lot of things going on in the media that I need to feel informed about and feel connected to, but I'm determining what I'm willing to watch and what I'm not, and when I need to lead a conversation. And I'm getting outside, and I'm getting at the level of my little boy and trying to see the world through his eyes, because hope is small and it builds, and if you feed it, it will grow.
Amen to that. All right, that was awesome. So how can people reach you? I've put the website, mhacf.org, at the bottom, but is there a preferred way? Should they go there first?
It's equal process through our website or Facebook, Mental Health Association of Central Florida on Facebook. You'll find our PSAs, you'll find our Coping Together series, and our resources. So either the website or the Facebook are perfect.
I love it. I have a personal question. Being a parent was very cathartic. Becoming a parent was transformational for me, coming from the background that I had and my issues that I had to deal with. What was that like when that part of the hope finally came into reality, came into fruition?
It was extremely emotional, and it was my call to action. Everything I thought I needed to do well in life suddenly became, okay, well, great, do it now. So it was a little shaking, but in the best way. It's been a chance to step up and show that I can do what I hoped I could do, and to keep learning from him and from my village.
I love it. All right. You're a joy. Thank you so much, Charlotte Melton, Mental
Thank
Health
you.
Association of Central Florida. You guys don't go through stuff alone. If you're questioning, if you have thoughts, anything that's negative, there's resources. So reach out to the resources, because the last thing we want is a statistic. We don't want any more of that. We want you all to have a safe place, an environment where you can feel good about sharing and you're not going to be judged, and that there's actual solutions or suggestions for solutions. So you guys reach out to Charlotte. Thank you so much for what you do and for sharing your journey. I appreciate it. Thanks, Charlotte.
Thank you.
All right, we'll see you guys soon. Have a good one. You guys don't go it alone. You don't have to reach out to Charlotte, but reach out at least to mhacf.org.